Teaching abroad sounds perfect. You get to travel and explore new cultures. Although this is wonderful, for many, after a few months or even a year, it can lead to burnout, routine, and the feeling of being stuck. Why do so many teachers end up struggling and thinking to themselves, this is not what I signed up for? In this video, I'm going to show you the real deal and what it's really like to live overseas as an expat and to teach English abroad, not just the Instagram stuff that make everything look perfect. I'll share the things no one talks about, but what everyone should know. Teaching abroad may sound easy to you. Not so fast. Why does teaching abroad at first glance always look easy? What real challenges await you? The ones they never talk about on Instagram. What things happen that cause the romanticism to wear off? What unexpected daily life or cultural challenges turn out to be the most exhausting? And why is it so important to understand your true goals before you go overseas to teach abroad? If you're a native speaker, you may already be thinking to yourself you already have the main qualification. But what Instagram Reels will not tell you is how exhausting the job can truly be. Long hours, unclear expectations, last-minute schedule changes, and policies that shift overnight are things that happen very often. And sometimes you realize that the school that hired you is not the way they presented themselves to be. The romanticism wore off very quickly. After the first few months being a big adventure, the realities kicked in of the daily grind of classroom management, trying to figure out local customs and daily language barriers. It's not just work. The lifestyle can also drain you. Maybe the food doesn't sit well with you. Maybe the language barrier makes basic errands a challenge. Or you're feeling isolated and without community. These are the things that Instagram Reels will never show you, but are a reality. That's why, before going abroad to teach, the most important step isn't packing your bags. It's being honest with yourself. Why do you want to teach abroad? Are you chasing a lifestyle, or are you chasing a meaningful path? And can you handle the rough days? Not just the Instagram-worthy ones. This video isn't to scare you, it's to help you get prepared. I will share in this video things I wish I knew before I started teaching abroad, so that you could build a life and a career that works perfectly for you. So, you signed a contract to teach abroad, you've packed your bags, and you've arrived in your new country, but you realize very quickly that the rules have changed. This happens more often than you think. One of the most frustrating things that ESL teachers face is that rules often change after you arrive. Perhaps in the contract you are promised 20 teaching hours a week, but instead it's 30. And perhaps you are promised free housing, but you realize you'll have to pay for things that aren't your responsibility. These surprises happen more often in private schools and in language centers. In public schools, for government-run programs, this doesn't happen and there's more structure. Still, it is very important to read your contract several times to know it and to stay flexible. First, stay calm. Always get things in writing. If you have to, go to your local labor board. Talk to other teachers to see if this is a regular pattern. And third, if things get really bad, you could always look for another job. The best way to protect yourself is to know that you can always look for another job if things get really bad. You can also look into teaching online or private tutoring on the side. If the school suddenly shuts down or pulls the rug from underneath you, you have leverage. Keep in mind that private tutoring is illegal the majority of the time when you're on a work visa, but if you stay quiet about it, you'll be fine. Private tutoring is an excellent way of supplementing your income. But here's something I've learned the hard way. Always be thinking ahead and have options. Even if you love your job right now, unexpected things can happen. The school can shut down, they can cut your pay, and even not renew your contract for any reason. It's always important to have a plan B. So what are your options? Private tutoring, and you can also do summer and winter camps. Long term, your first contract can be a stepping stone. Don't expect your first job to be a paradise. You can always use this experience to apply for better jobs in the future. As long as your job is paying you your salary and abiding by the contract and not leaving you hanging dry when it comes to money, then you can tolerate this job for 1 year and use it as a stepping stone. Want to move to a new country or switch to teaching online? Start preparing now. Follow job boards, update your portfolio, and network in TEFL and online forums. Plan ahead and you'll put yourself in the best position to to have smooth transitions. Even if your job feels stable today, always think bigger, always plan ahead. This kind of responsibility is what turns teaching English abroad from a short-term job to a lifestyle. Let's talk about something that is not mentioned enough when it comes to living overseas: culture shock. Living in a new country is not just about your new job. You'll also have to live in a new culture. Sometimes the cultural differences can be overwhelming, and it's not easy to build relationships with locals. There might be language barriers, a different sense of humor, or even unspoken workplace rules. And if you don't figure it out quickly, it's going to be very easy to feel isolated. So what do you do when you still feel like an outsider, even after a few months? First, don't blame yourself. It's totally normal. However, don't isolate yourself. Here are some things that you can do. Learn basic phrases in the local language. Say yes to invites, even if you're nervous. And join groups that have people that share similar interests as you do outside of work. In my experience, hanging out with coworkers is usually just people gossiping. And if you really want to build meaningful relationships with people and not just depend on your colleagues, then you could also join groups with people who share your similar interests. Because let's be honest, in any job, people will always be nice in the beginning, but more often than not, they show their true colors later. In the age of social media and in the internet, it is now easier than ever before to find people who share similar interests as you. Do you like hiking? Find a hiking group. Art? Join an art club. You can even find religious communities. You get what I'm saying. Find people who share the same interests as you do and make yourself some friends. The truth is, making friendships with locals is very difficult. But always remember, there are always expats who are in the same position you are in, trying to meet people. If you need to, don't be afraid to reach out to a mental health professional. There are plenty of therapists online, and in Tier 1 cities, such as Shanghai and in Seoul, there are licensed therapists who are even foreigners who understand Western culture. So therapy is available to you, especially if you live in a big city. Living abroad is exciting, but it's also an emotional journey. The more you invest in your new environment and not just focus solely on work, the better and faster your transition will be. You're not alone in feeling out of place. With the right support and the right mindset, you can get through this. Now, let's talk about the classroom environment. Many new teachers get stuck in over-preparing. They want every lesson to be perfect, but this will quickly lead to burnout. So why does this happen? Because teachers think that if their lesson is perfect, then they're doing a good job. New games, new slides, new worksheets. But this is very time-consuming and can lead to burnout. The truth is, you don't have to and don't need to create everything from scratch. Teaching is a profession where many people, including myself, have used other people's ideas. Don't feel bad if you do that. It's completely okay. Make use of local materials, such as student workbooks, student textbooks, and audio CDs. Instead of adding to things, build around what's already being used. You can collaborate. Share your ideas with other teachers. Are you teaching online? Post your ideas in a forum, and you can even sell your digital materials about teaching. The more you give, the more you'll get back. So take advantage of that. Remember, students don't need perfect slides. They just need clarity, energy, and engagement. There is no such thing as a perfect lesson, even from someone who's been teaching for a while. Something that no one warned you about when you start teaching is the physical and technical aspect of the job. When you're teaching several lessons a day, you're constantly on your feet, constantly going back and forth, and constantly using your voice, and it can be very exhausting. That's why it's important to protect your health. Always stay hydrated, and always wear comfortable shoes. Teaching tools are also important. If you're teaching online, a good microphone and a good internet connection goes a long way. If you're teaching offline, you can even use a microphone. You need a whiteboard and even magnetic strips that you can use on the board. These will make your lessons smoother and more engaging without the extra effort. And if you're teaching young children, you will need to decorate your classroom. Teaching is one of those professions where you learn as you go. No one can train you on how to be a good teacher. It just takes repetition. If you're meant to be a good teacher, you will eventually figure it out. You'll make mistakes. It's okay. It's part of the process. Let's talk about something real, and honestly something that's pretty common among ESL teachers: burnout. Teaching abroad seems amazing, but after a few months, you may feel yourself irritable, disconnected from your students, and tired all the time. These are the early signs of burnout. One of the hardest parts is that voice in your head telling you, I came all this way, I signed the contract, I have to stay. The truth is, although it's noble, you're doing yourself no favors, your students no favors, and definitely no favors to your future self. So how do you know if it's just a rough week or if it's something even deeper than that? If rest does not help, if joy is gone, even in good moments, and if you feel like you're just surviving but not living, these are the signs of burnout. And when that happens, it's okay to make a change. Perhaps you need to switch schools, change countries, go to therapy, or simply just take a break to recharge. Something that can also happen is that sometimes you can live abroad for a year or two and just realize it's not for you. And if that ends up being you, don't beat yourself up. You tried something that most people will be afraid to try. So pat yourself on the back. Also remember, just because your situation and your school looks good on paper doesn't mean it's perfect. Your school, like any job, will still bother you and cause you inconveniences. You just need to be in a situation where the inconveniences don't put you in a bad situation and where you're not being taken advantage of. So wherever you work, make sure you have personal boundaries. Teaching abroad isn't a dead end. It's a launch pad. And if you're starting to feel stuck, I want you to know that your experience in the classroom will help you in life in many ways. Think about it. You will have learned how to communicate with people from different cultures, adapt to change all the time, and to think fast, and to handle your own problems without being away from your family. Those are valuable skills. The truth is, you need to stop seeing teaching as just a job. See it as a way to build your savings, build your emotional intelligence, explore new cultures, and taking the time to figure out what truly energizes you, because that's what happened for me. Teaching abroad is a huge opportunity, and if you're thinking about what you should do with your next steps, I'm here to help you. If you're feeling like you've outgrown the classroom but don't know where to go next, I can also help you. Regardless of your situation, I offer one-on-one consultations. I can help you explore your next steps, find your niche, and help you build a bigger vision for your life abroad. Click the link in the description if you're ready to make teaching English abroad not the end of your story, but the beginning of something even greater. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.